Welcome to the Retro Blood.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Retro Blood as we continue this exploration into 1980s ghost style movies, part 2. Talking these creatures that will haunt you in your dreams, that will haunt you when you walk into a house, and that will also haunt you with a creepy doll by a little girl's side. Because yes, the Retro Blood's continuing this month. If y'all like creepy houses that when you walk into them, you hear some sort of doll, kids lullaby that will show impending doom on your soul. If you are like the kids or this guy named Paul using his super technology of 1980s ham radios to figure out the mystery of the haunted little girl who is haunting people from the grave. If y'all like this character named Martha, which I could barely understand, but her voice was hot, I guess, so that's all that matters. I actually thought there was gonna be a twist, but there wasn't a twist in this film. And if y'all like Italian gore, yes, it's back, brother, on the Retro Blood, then this is the review for you, because the Retro Blood is talking all about Evil Dead, Ghost House, aka La Casa 3.
Yes. Which is also a sequel for Evil Dead.
Yes. Sort of. Now, I've seen many sequels of Evil Dead. I wouldn't, in my line of watching and viewing, I wouldn't count this as an Evil Dead kind of thing, because we didn't get any kind of like, spiritual demons doing lullabies and stuff. I guess we had some lullabies, but nobody turned into a demon in this one. They just got killed.
No. The only way you could think that this would be a sequel to Evil Dead is if you thought Evil Dead was about the house.
Yeah, but this was just a random. This wasn't even the house. This wasn't even the Evil Dead house.
No, it's a different house. It was a different house.
There wasn't even the Necronomicon book. All right.
No. It did kind of have the tape recording voices and that kind of thing, but that's about it. But
that's about it. Yeah. I guess it did have the only thing, I guess, if you're stretching, all right, it did have where the original guy, Breckenridge or something, he did dabble in, like, I guess they were saying that he was dabbling in some sort of like evil spirit stuff, and that's how the house became like it was. So I guess that was like the stretch of it. But there is a reason, which we're going to talk about on the Who Booked This segment, of why this one was a supposedly in Italian, why it was an Evil Dead continuation. All right, it wasn't really going to be like that, but there's a reason why they did that. And I uncovered something doing my vast research, all right, that we might have to, when I get to it, everybody, and Alison, when we get to it, we might have to do the first ever Retro Blood pivot. And there's a reason why. Okay, and trust me, if I could not, when you like, I'll get there, but like when you like watch something or you hear something and you're like, I can't believe that actually happened, and how come I did not know this at all? That's going to be our history segment when it comes to this movie. Okay. But first thing is, what's up, Alison? How's everything going?
Oh, pretty good, man. How is Australia treating you?
Whew. Down under, man. It's pretty crazy. It's kind of fun, like traveling here to Australia when you're like a American like myself, because they think my accent is exotic.
Yeah. So all the chicks are hitting on you?
No, not really.
So tell me.
No, I'm just kidding.
So tell me, have you found a bloomin' onion yet?
So apparently they don't do those unless I'm in the wrong place for that. But I always ask, like, yo, where's the bloomin' onion at? And they're like, well, fuck it, but you got to go to the Outback for that one. I was like, well, where the fuck is the Outback? Because like, we don't got none of them. And another thing I asked for too is like, how come y'all don't got Foster's? Isn't Foster's like some sort of Australian beer? Or am I just
they
going
should have
crazy on that?
Foster's. No,
I haven't
Foster's
seen-
is Australian. They should have that.
Nope.
That's weird. Okay.
Zero bars have fucking Foster. At least, listen, I'm not talking about the whole Australia, obviously. I've only been to Sydney. I know we got a couple Australian listeners out there. Shout out to our boy, Andres. I always fuck up his name. Andres, shout out to him. He lives in a different area of Australia, so I haven't been to them. So they might have the Bloomin' Onions, they might have the Foster's beer and stuff. But out here, I've been drinking like Young Henry's. That's like a big beer around here.
Yeah.
They do have some. They have some good. They have some really interesting like Japanese beer here. They have some that's cool. made of. They have some that's made of like rice. The rice style. And they also have some of these Japanese kind of like a seltzer style beer that's been pretty good. So far, the beer doesn't really compare to our great state of North Carolina. Sorry.
Well, I mean, we live in Beer City. We live in Beer City, so now, nothing beats North Carolina beer.
Yeah. Now I'm talking about craft beer. I'm not talking about Miller High Life or whatever.
Of course.
The craft beer around here, I like the ones down there in North Carolina a little better so far, but it's been fun. Traveling around, seeing the different sites and everything. So I've been going to a lot of beaches and stuff too. So we do have a from listener Andres. He did send us a list of some Australian horror movies to do, and we're gonna go through that list and stuff and start putting them on there. So, but yeah, it's been cool.
That'd be awesome.
Pretty soon, probably back when we do our reviews in October time, I should be back at the Retro Blood Studios. But in the meantime, we got this nice little environment over here. All right, I'm on assignment, and I have visited the Ghost House. All right.
Yeah.
So imagine going to this thing.
So funny story about this real quick. So a couple of months ago I watched this movie and forgot about it.
Oh, really?
And then as soon as I started watching it, I was like, oh my God, I gotta watch this fucking thing again. But anyway, I made it through. So
okay. So before we get into the history and stuff, I actually kind of like this movie. I actually thought it was pretty well paced. I thought the story was pretty interesting, when it comes to like there's like an evil lullaby, and that's how like danger is coming through, and then
I like that part of
it. Through the mass technology of ham radio waves, you can listen into the things before they happen, like the death of Jim and stuff like that. You can hear that before it happens and stuff.
Yeah,
and even our boy Paul is like, listen, there's studies about this that says that it could happen, right? And
wow.
I thought it was good. And then I guess it had a shock ending in a way. All right. Even though like the ending was part of the ending was a little like anticlimactic. All right. But I do appreciate, and this is like an Italian horror thing, is I like it in Italian horror. All you need to do is like strike the person one time and like their head's already like busted open.
Yeah, they explode. Their heads explode. I thought the ending was a little bit I see what you're saying. They kind of got Final Destination at the end of it. Yeah. But I mean, I didn't hate this. I didn't love it. We'll see. We'll talk about it. I'll probably like it better as we talk about it.
Once I explain the vast details, Alison, I think you'll come
around.
Right. And boy, when I talk about the history stuff, you'll really come around. At least I know I did.
All right.
But everybody, let's keep this train rolling on the Retro Blood. Let's talk about what is going on in the world of the pro wrestling and the metal music around the release date. The release date I used, Alice, I'm not sure if you used the same. I think you might have. Is I used the Italian release date. Because
me too.
There's like three different ones. There's like this one that happened at this like fantastic film festival that happened earlier on the year of January 1988, and then there's one in Japan that happened around May. But I'm going to use the good old-fashioned Italy, because me and yourself we're big travelers to Italy. They know us.
We are.
We're so huge.
They know
in
us.
Italy. Bro, we're so huge in Italy. They just fucking just roll out the red carpet.
Yeah, big in Italy. Big in Italy.
All right, so this was. Go ahead.
Let's say we need to make shirts that say "Big in Italy."
Yeah, big in Italy, brother. They love us. All right, I'm Italian man. All right, so this movie released on August 11th, 1988. All right, and I actually found something very well, it's kind of a tragic story in wrestling that happens Well, a little bit before this, like a month before this. And I think we touched on this a little bit before. I'm going to talk about it again on here. And so when I was trying to find some research about, what was happening around this time, I came across a Reddit post. And the Reddit post, what they'll do is they'll find old wrestling observers, like Wrestling Observer with the Dave Meltzer and stuff, very prominent wrestling reporter, especially around this time. They'll find old Wrestling Observer newsletters that used to get sent out in magazine form before the internet was as popular as it is nowadays. And he would kind of break down some of the things that Dave was discussing. And I actually thought this particular issue was pretty interesting of some of the repercussions or some of the damage that one Bruiser Brody had on the Puerto Rican Wrestling Federation when he got stabbed to death in that locker room.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yes. So almost a month before this movie released, Bruiser Brody, age 42, was stabbed to death in Puerto Rico. All right. I think it was for the WWC promotion, and that happened on July 17th, 1988. Obviously, it's one of the biggest shockers in wrestling. And, it was during that time where they didn't really have, people could bring in guns, knives. It's not like you were like checking shit at the, at the arena. They would just come in and stuff. And there was this thing where on this newsletter, let me get to it over here, where it's looking like it's not known if there was a conspiracy, but if there was going to be a conspiracy happening, it would pretty much show like the end of WWC, which I believe still ran after Brody's death. All right, so I think they got. I'm not sure about the full history of what happened, repercussions after this, but this is what the article was Dave was talking about. That was I thought it was pretty interesting. Okay. So he, obviously the murder happened in July, so slowly we're getting some more news stories come in about some of the details and some of the aftermath of the killing. Okay.
Right.
So it says, as far as the Bruiser Brody murder case goes, okay, there is I guess there was an invader. Okay. And they have given no explanation yet, and that's led to a lot of speculation. Okay. So it writes, the guy's recap, I thought was pretty interesting, of Dave's article was basically everyone wants an answer, and if anybody else knows, they're not answering. The situation in Puerto Rico has deteriorated as many wrestlers are boycotting the WWC. Some are worried that they get killed too. To which Dave says that to his knowledge, there was no conspiracy, and then after the Brody family, it's WWC who has lost the most in the wake of things. Wrestlers have left them. They've been exonerated by the media. All right. Their image is perhaps damaged, and they lost two of their biggest draws. And fans at the arena have been turned off from wrestling. Consider that. He finds it hard to imagine a credible conspiracy theory inculpating, saying that WWC was in on it, basically. Considering that just what the murder has cost them. And yet, if evidence were to be emerged that shows that there was a conspiracy, Dave thinks that WWC should be shunned and boycott as if they were South Africa. But running WWC out of business won't bring Brody back. Dave does think this should make promotions rethink permitting weapons like guns and knives in the locker room.
So that's a lot of shit there. So they're saying that.
Yeah. Hold on.
Only if the promotion itself was, like part of a conspiracy to have him murdered, only then should they rethink having knives and guns and weapons. It shows like that just shows you like how like Wild West wrestling was, or the world was back then. So I mean, basically what he's saying is that he is, I guess, around this time, a lot of people thought that, who was the guy that owned the promotion? It was Carlito's dad, right?
Yeah.
Carlos Colon.
Yeah.
Carlos Colon, right? That's his name. Yeah. They're saying that maybe he somehow had Brody killed, but But he's right. That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would he like risk his business?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, why would he have his biggest draw murdered?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see I think, yeah. Well, this shows the champ. Yeah. I mean, WWC Puerto Rico. Yes, it is owned by Carlito's dad, and it's still going on to this day. You know what I mean? So it's you know, yeah, I believe it's Carlos Colon. Okay.
Carlos Colon, yes, that's his name.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, I guess because they were just not like nowadays, since we have the internet and stuff, if something like this happens, obviously we would all know details pretty quickly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is Puerto Rico, and they're just getting stuff flooded in from the United States, so it just took a little while to get all the facts of Bruiser's Brody's death. It was Gonzalez fatally stabbed professional wrestler Frank Donald Gudish, known as Bruiser Brody, backstage during a wrestling event in Puerto Rico. Gonzalez was acquitted of murder in 1989 after a jury accepted that he was acting in self-defense.
Yeah, so they know that. So Gonzalez wrestled under the name Invader One.
Yeah,
and they've known that he was the one that killed Brody, but he claimed that he killed Brody in self-defense.
Yeah,
and then he ended up being acquitted. But there's all kinds of like things going on with it too. Like there was a lot of witnesses that were summoned to be witnesses at the trial, but they didn't get the summons in time. So the trial was already over by the time they got the summons to be there. So he could have potentially been convicted if they had more witnesses. But, at the same time, I mean, would it really have made that much of a difference? You know what I mean? I mean, Brody would have still been dead, and I don't know if it would have made any difference or not, though.
Yeah, and also too, he also Gonzalez. He also went by the name at this time has Invader One.
Yes.
Yeah. Very interesting. And they even had like key witnesses to the killing did not give testimony at Gonzalez's trial due to their summons of only being received after the trial had concluded. So they were saying the people who witnessed the murder and stuff didn't even get called into the trial until after the hearing was already done, which is interesting.
Yeah, because they sent everything out in the mail back then, and they just didn't get it in time. I don't know. What do you think Brody would have been like if he had not died? I mean, he was already 42 years old, so he was past his prime at this point. But by the time we started watching wrestling in the 90s, do you think he obviously he wouldn't have been a full-time wrestler, but do you think he would have still been in ECW or something?
I probably would say he definitely probably would have done a run with WCW maybe a little bit, because they were bringing it back. There's a period within WCW, especially when they had Bill Watts, they were bringing in like a little bit older wrestlers. So I think he would have had a run with them. To be honest with you, I think he would have done all three. Because at the later on in the 90s, before like the Attitude Era start really getting going, they would bring back a bunch of old wrestlers. I mean, the WWF, they brought back they brought Barry Windham as a Blackjacks.
True. That's
they
true.
brought back God, who was that guy? To escape my memory. It was the guy who was in the Freebirds. He was like the big powerhouse of the Freebirds. Terry Gordy? Yeah, Terry Gordy.
Terry Gordy, yeah.
They brought him back as the Executioner, Alice's favorite gimmick.
Right? I love that with the hood.
So, I don't see why even Brody, I mean, obviously he was 42. I mean, he probably would have been around like 40, almost hitting 46. They probably wouldn't have him in the main event slot, but they probably would have had him like in one of those gimmicks if he would have done it. The thing about Brody, though, was different than a lot of other wrestlers at this time, is Brody, he didn't take no shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, he didn't do those dumb gimmick shit. He was just himself. So, unless he was doing it for like the money, I don't know if he would have went to the WWF, but I definitely could see him doing like, New Japan, All Japan with Vader. You know what I mean? I could see him maybe doing a run in ECW for a little bit, maybe WCW. But that'd be my guess. Gimmick wise, I don't, unless the money was there, I don't know if he would have done a run in WWF. At that time, like obviously there was big money in him and Hogan in the early 90s to 80s, they were thinking about doing that feud.
Yeah.
But other
True.
than that, I'm not too sure. So, but yeah, it's a pretty sad story. I mean, it's a very detailed murder case of what happened, and it just some of those things. This is like it's a wild, a crazy story, and it's just horrible. Like what happened in there. So, and then we would later
Really
on
is.
see almost a similar situation with Sid and Arn Anderson happening in the 90s too, with some stabbings and
True.
stuff. So it's pretty
That is
crazy
true.
right there, man. And some the wrestling story is definitely pretty wild. I'm not sure, but I don't think that Dark Side of the Ring did a Brody story yet. I can't remember, but that
I
would be
thought
a
they.
good. I think
That
they
would be a
might.
good one. I thought they talked
Yeah.
about the murder part,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure.
So,
I need to go back and look at some of those because I haven't seen them in a long time. I haven't seen any of the new ones.
Yeah, don't quote us on that. I'd be shocked if they haven't done it already, but I can't, in my mind, off the top of my head, think they've done one. So, but Alison, what do we got going on in the metal music where we're heading to our La Casa of Doom?
Well, well, speaking of tragedies, I'm bringing more tragedy with us. So we've talked about this band before in a different context, and it's one of those things where we can kind of see we've talked about these albums in order, strangely enough. So we can kind of see their kind of ascending arc there, and then their kind of descending arc. So the band I want to talk about today is a band called Europe. We've talked about Europe before.
Oh, yeah, Europe, yeah.
Brian Danielson's favorite band, apparently, of all time. We've talked about their album, their 1984 album, Wings of Tomorrow, which I love. We talked about that and how much I love it. We talked about their 1986 album, The Final Countdown, which was the next album they made, and how much I don't like that album as much because it's super overproduced and really commercial. It was a huge hit though. Now we're up to August 9th, 1988. So it's like 2 days before this movie came out in Italy. Europe released a follow-up to The Final Countdown. They released an album called Out of This World. So Out of This World was expected to be the biggest hit they ever had. They're just coming off this Final Countdown world tour. They're one of the biggest rock bands on the planet. They go and spend 3 months recording this album called Out of This World. Now, one thing to keep in mind too is this is the first album where John Norum's not playing guitar. So John Norum is like an incredible Swedish guitar player. He had been in Europe from the beginning. He helped write The Final Countdown and left right before the tour for that album. So he never played those songs live until he came back to the band years later. But anyway, this is the first album they've made without him, and they had his replacement, Key Marcello. So this album actually did really well considering it had a good commercial success when it first came out. So Europe basically goes on tour with Def Leppard in the United States, and the album's about to come out, and they're doing a double headlining tour with Def Leppard, and their manager pulls them off the tour to send them to the continent of Europe to promote this album that's about to come out, because he says he doesn't want to share any more tour profits with Def Leppard. So this album comes out. It does sell ultimately 3 million copies, which would be good by anybody's standards. But it only got up to number 19 on the charts, which is in the 80s. That's a failure. If you're a band as big as Europe and you're barely breaking the top 20, that's considered a failure. So they go and they tour Europe for a little bit. All of their tour dates for the summer, they tour in the spring. Their tour dates in the summer get canceled of 1989. They're supposed to go back to the United States, but there's not enough draw. So their tour for the United States gets canceled. So they're just like, well, we're going to pack this up and go back to the studio and write a new record. So they did that. And they released another record called Prisoners of Paradise. Unfortunately, they released it in the fall of 1991. So they released it after Nirvana killed hair metal. So this was kind of the end of, basically, this was pretty much the end of Europe's career, at least in the United States.
Yeah.
But Out of This World was like their final chance, their final taste of being a big band, an arena band. But yeah, they go drastically downhill after this. And this album is not even on a streaming service. I had to listen to it on YouTube. Yeah, it's not even on a streaming service. Every other Europe album is. This is by far the worst Europe album I've ever heard.
Oh, really?
I'm not even a huge Europe fan. I do just love that album, that one album that we talked about, and I like Final Countdown. That's a great song. But yeah, it's I just want to talk about that because it's like something that happened to a lot of these bands, and it just happened to Europe earlier. You know, they kind of had this failure, what they would consider a failure in 1988, and then in 1991, their career was pretty much destroyed by Nirvana. But yeah,
it happens like that.
Yeah, it does, and there's not a lot of highlights on this. Didn't love this album at all.
There you go.
They does have the song called.
Is it better than the Lullaby that we heard 1,000 times in this movie?
No. I like the Lullaby better. It does have the song called Superstitious, which I think is good. It sounds like Deep Purple, and I'm a huge Deep Purple fan, so I do like that. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because it's something we don't get a chance to talk about a lot because usually in the 80s the hair metal stuff's still riding high in any context that we talk about it. Although 88, 89 is like right on the verge of crashing, and you just can't see that that Nirvana asteroid coming to kill all the dinosaurs, but it's there, and
it's coming really quick. Especially
it's coming quick.
88, 90, 90, 91. It's about to hit it.
It's coming. It's coming quick, and then 2 years later they would pretty much be extinct. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to talk about that for a minute, and we can move on to who booked this shit. But
that's interesting. I like it.
Europe, out of this world.
We'll play for the podcast listeners. We'll play a little song from that album and see if y'all like it. But yeah, Europe. Like I said, I barely know anything about Europe besides that one album we talked about in the Final Countdown.
Yeah.
But to me, to be honest with you, it's kind of like one of those bands where they're known for one hit, which is the Final Countdown. That's just their main song for the masses. So, and apparently it's expensive as shit to buy the rights to it. Apparently,
didn't AEW say it's like $250,000 every time they want to play it?
Yeah, gotta make your money somehow, brother.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, $250,000 to play at one time. That's good. That's a good living.
Yeah,
that's a good living.
But yeah, it's pretty interesting. All right, so let's get going. On who booked this shit, brother. All right.
Yeah. This movie has a crazy story.
I would say it's pretty interesting. All right.
Yeah.
So the first thing is this film was a directed screenplay and story by the one man, a great Italian director, Umberto Lenzi. All right.
Yeah.
But he went, what was his name in this? Humphrey? What was his gimmick name in this movie? It was like Humphrey something.
Yeah. So he had to have an American sounding name, like a lot of those Italians did.
But this name was ridiculous. All right, it was like, oh God, where was it? It was like Humphrey thing. It was like, I was like, come on, man. Like of all your American sub names to do,
let's see if I can find it.
Yeah.
Humphrey Humbert.
That's what it was. Humphrey Humbert.
Yeah. Humbert.
So, we talked about some of this when we do our vast library of Italian movies. So at this particular point, and we talked about this last month when we did our Fulci month, 1988 and 1989 weren't the greatest years for Italian horror. Like it was hard for them to get funding. It was hard for them to get an audience. And to get, distribution in American stuff, a lot of times these Italian directors would have to use surrogate names like our boy Humphrey over here. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think the most interesting story about this movie was the name change. Okay. Right. So basically, Umberto Lenzi, used his, surrogate name to make the whole film. And so basically to get what try to say here, to get more eyeballs on the movie, he decided, like, the movie was already going to be called Ghost House,
okay, yeah,
but he decided nobody knows what the fucking Ghost House is, brother, but they know what La Casa is because La Casa was the name of Evil, like we said earlier, Evil Dead 1 and 2 in Italy. So he was like, well, why don't I just slap on La Casa 3 so people know
It'll
what
be
the
a
movie
sequel.
is, and
Yeah.
it could be a sequel to that. And that actually made the movie a success. Okay, it actually obviously it wasn't like breaking the bank or whatever in Italy, but it was one of the most successful horror movies at this time in 1988 in Italy because of the name change and stuff. Even if the correlation between this movie and Evil Dead, not so much. But
not so much.
All right.
But at the same time, though, you got to consider that the internet didn't exist back then, so you couldn't be warned about stuff like this. Because if we were around in 1988 and a movie called Evil Dead 3 came out, we would go see it.
That shit like quick.
Yeah. If it was this, we would have gone to see it, and we'd have been like, what's this got to do with Evil Dead? But maybe the Italians didn't do that. Maybe they're just like, oh well,
Yeah. There is something I want to talk about. Yes, there is something I want to talk about of why this movie was such a success that it had a sequel, but I'll get to that. All right. So here's a little behind the scenes stuff. So it says towards the end of 1980s, the Italian industry, the genre of Italian horror was, producing less material, like we talked about. And independent companies began focusing on foreign markets where their product would sell more easier, theatrical or on home video. One company was Arstyle Arstide Filmograge, founded in 1980. Sure. It began producing low-budget horror films by the mid-1980s, including Darnar Safran's Inner Zone, Michael Save's Stage Fright. All right, and this one, Umberto Lenzi's Ghost House. Okay, so they basically had got some independent, like this time they were getting a lot of independent production companies to do their low-budget horror films.
Yeah, we need to do Stage Fright on this show at some point.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Michel Soave was the guy in Demons that wore the half mask.
Yeah,
he's also an actor, so he played the guy that wore the half mask. Yeah. But yeah, Stage Fright's a good film. We need to watch that at some point.
Yeah, we'll keep that on the for the people, man. We do stuff for the people here. All right, so despite the credits citing one Cynthia McGavin as a screenwriter, the screenplay was written by Lenzi. All right, Lenzi wrote first Ghost House story in January 1987 and found Italian and American funder through the producer Roberto Guillermo, who later left the project due to financial issues. This led to the production company entering the project as a producer. The films was shot in the United States in mid-1987. Other Filmage productions was also filmed in the United States. The film was shot in Boston, Massachusetts. And they let you know they were in Boston because they said it all the time.
They did.
All right. So some other fun stuff about the film here. Let me get to this part over here. My notes.
And I don't know if we mentioned, but Umberto Lenzi was the guy who directed 2 other shows we've done, Eaten Alive and Cannibal Ferox.
Yes. And that's actually some of our biggest viewed episodes of all time were our cannibal stuff. Yeah, he did some crazy shit, man. All right. Those 2 movies are pretty wild. Okay.
Yes, they are.
Check them out in the archives, everybody. They're on the whatever you listen to your podcast and on the YouTubes as well, too. So I thought this was nice. So apparently the house that they used for the evil girl demon doll killings and hauntings was the same house that was Lucio Fulci's The House by the Cemetery.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
So very cool. By the way, you can find that one in our archives too. It's one of our favorite.
Yes. That whole series is good.
Yes. So this one's pretty fun too. We talked a little bit about this. According to producer Joe Diamanto, which we talked about many times on the show, the film was a commercial success mainly because of it was Angeli Manzito's idea to change the title from Ghost House to La Casa 3. So that was like his idea of doing that to kind of like help basically market the movie so people could watch it. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think there's like 7 of these La Casa movies now.
Yeah, there's.
I can't. I won't be able to name all of them off the top of my head, but there's Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, Ghost House, La Casa 4 is Witchery, which has Michael Hasselhoff, David Hasselhoff. Movie House 1 is La Casa 5.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the other two are off the top of my head.
So
I think the sequel to House is La Casa 6. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So I know you just skimmed over it. All right, but we might have to do the first ever. We might have to do the first ever Retro Blood pivot, because I don't know if y'all heard what Alison said, but there is since the success of this movie, Ghost House, aka La Casa 3, they got funding to do a La Casa 4 called Witchery.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which, listen, I know you just skimmed over. you have David Hasselhoff.
Yes.
The Night Rider. Baywitch.
The Night Rider.
Baywatch. I said Baywitch, but Baywatch. Muscular man himself in an Italian horror film. How in the fuck did I not know about this? Holy shit. What?
I don't know. Like, I don't know why I've never mentioned it before. It's a show. It's one I've wanted to do on the show for a while. It also has Linda Blair in it.
Linda Blair's in there shit too.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. If you can get over the fact that David Hasselhoff is in it.
No, that's perfect. Are you kidding me? Knight Rider with his glistening body and Baywatch. Yeah, the Baywatch guy there, Alison.
I never watched a lot of Baywatch. I did like what's her name, Pamela Anderson. Yeah, at the time.
All right, so I suggest that we do the first ever Retro Blood pivot.
Okay.
And I think for next week we should review La Casa 4, except for the movie that we're gonna do last time was what was the fucking Reaper thing? Hold on.
The Reaper. Yeah, the Reaper.
Yeah. So I suggest that we keep the Reaper on the back burner for some other time, and we're gonna go straight into the Witchery, because I have to see this. Bro, I have to see this movie.
Yeah, you do. Hell yeah, dude.
I think it's on Prime.
It's on Tubi, I know.
I didn't see it on. Well, okay, maybe my VPN wasn't working, because I was
about to say you're in another country, but yeah, it should be on Tubi as well. But
we'll find it and we'll do that one next week, because brother, I had no David Hasselhoff in an Italian horror film. My brain still can't like comprehend that. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. I like it though. So, but yeah, that's the big stuff when it comes to this movie. Basically it just, I thought the story was actually pretty fun and good. We'll talk about it here in a second. But, obviously it's showing that, obviously the horror movies right now in Italian during this era look a little weak. So they're trying hard to get funding on it. But we still get a couple of gems here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I actually thought this one was pretty fun for the low budgeting that it had. And I thought the marketing on it by naming it La Casa was a great idea. You know what I mean? So they get people in there. And it's such a great idea. And it did so well that I actually gave it a sequel that had David Hasselhoff in it, which is great. So, but I say, let's get into it. Let's get into the full review of Ghost House, a.k.a.
Let's do it.
La Casa 3.
Maybe there's something supernatural about all this, guys. I don't know. I just feel like we're in some kind of danger and we've got to do something.
I don't like this place. It's depressing. There's something evil about the house.
All right. So we start off. We see an old house. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do.
So,
Another old house.
Another good old house. You know what I mean? Another good
Just
old
like an Evil Dead one.
There's like Evil Dead 1, 2, and every other movie
Same
we
thing,
watch.
right?
There's always have to be some
same
creepy
thing.
old house.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, though, has a dad who is pissed off at his child. All right. So he's looking for his child. He goes down to the basement.
Yeah.
He sees that his kid has killed a cat with some scissors.
Wow.
All right. We hear like this child lullaby, which we'll hear like 30,000 times during this movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I put in my notes, the little girl killed the cat scissors like we did in Halloween 4. Remember at the end?
Yeah.
I liked it. Pretty sure that's where they got the idea. I could be wrong.
I bet they did.
So the dad is now chastising her. How could you do something so vile and cruel on your birthday, no less?
Mm.
I was like, okay.
If you can't kill a cat with scissors on your birthday, when can you do it?
Yeah, when can you do it? Come on now. All right. And he said, I'm going to keep you locked down here. Okay. And I'm going to keep you in the dark until I say it's long enough. And then she looked cool with this. She was like, okay, I'll stay down here with my creepy doll and hang out. I'm all cool with it. So lights go out. She has some cool, creepy doll. So now the dad doesn't know what's going on with the daughter at all. Like, it's like he feels like she's like been possessed or something. Oh, kind of like an Evil Dead.
Kind of.
Oh, kind of.
Which this movie is clearly a sequel to.
Yeah, clearly. Maybe the dad and his maybe he had the Necronomicon laying around somewhere.
Maybe it's just off camera. Maybe that's how we see it.
Yeah. They couldn't, they couldn't afford the book on here. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
So the dad doesn't really know what's up with her and stuff. Like I said, he thinks she's like under a spell or a curse. And then the wife's like, well, she's our only child. So you have to give into her quirky serial killer signs because she's our only child. Okay. All right. So then, so now the dad goes up to into the living room trying to figure out what to do with his daughter, and he sees that one of the light bulbs have grown. This is a cool effect they did. One of the light bulbs grew and it popped.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So lights come off and stuff, and now we have a Italian special where we actually see the killer's hand with I believe it was like a knife. All right, and it walks slowly up to the dad. Knocks the dad in the head one time. Dad's head's already busted open because this is an Italian horror film, brother. All it takes is one shot to the head. And then the wife comes in. Some sweet, cool Italian music plays. And then the wife starts freaking out because she sees her dead husband there. And then the mirror starts freaking out, and she starts freaking out too with the mirror. I thought this mirror scene was really cool, and the music was really cool too. So the mirror shatters all over the wife's face, and then we have the wife, the killer, cuts the throat. Now, I'm not exactly sure there, Alison. Maybe you can explain this to me. But we see that the kid was downstairs the whole time with her creepy doll.
Right.
Now, was it the creepy doll who killed the parents, or would it be our groundskeeper Willie that we would see pretty soon?
I think it was definitely the influence of this creepy doll that made groundskeeper Willie kill them.
Okay. Now he had a different name. He had a different name, but that's just what I called him during the whole film. All right. If y'all don't like it, screw you. All right.
Exactly.
So now it's 20 years later. Oh, okay. You don't say. And we have a girl walking around the city. Her name is Martha.
Mhm.
I think she's Italian. All right. So she calls
Sure.
up a dude in a green shirt. His name is Paul. All right. They're like a couple. And they're going through, she has to go to the library and stuff, so she's going to be a little late. And then he's saying, hey, I'm making chili. And you've never seen a happier girl in their life. Does that work? Like, hey,
not for
baby,
me, but
hey,
it
baby, I'm
apparently
making
does
chili.
for him. Apparently, it works for him.
It don't work for me either, too, brother, because I have a sensitive
No.
stomach. So a girl really
Yeah.
doesn't want me to have chili, or it's going to be a bad night.
Yeah, it's not going to be. It's not going to be a bad night. It's going to be a bad night under the covers. Is all I got to say.
Exactly. So and then he's like, I'll keep it hot for you. And she's like, I got one more thing. How about you keep yourself hot? Oh, okay. So now we're aging ourselves. Now we can see Paul. He is talking about his ham radio, and he's also talking about the Celtic game. Okay. He also talks about these two lady actresses, but I didn't get the names. So now Paul's he's meeting with this girl and stuff, and something's weird happening with his radio. Okay, and he tells Martha when she gets there that something weird happened today with his radio. He was trying to reach Denver. Okay, another radio host guy from Denver, but then there's this weird, wacky signal that came in, and it sounded like terrible screaming. Right. All right. And then so Martha kind of blows it off a little bit, and then he shows her. He actually plays her the recording of the weird noises. All right. And at first they're like, well, maybe it's like a joke or something like that. And my favorite part was like, Paul could not believe this is a joke. He was like, you know what? This is not a joke. This is ham radio shit. Everybody takes this ham radio shit seriously.
Yeah, it's nobody jokes around on ham radio. Nobody. Sure thing, Paul.
We don't joke about any when we're doing like this show, bro. We're doing this over the internet radio. I don't joke around here at all. All right, I'm like Paul. Everything is serious, bro. Okay.
Yes, straight up.
If we hear some screaming on here, that shit was serious.
It's real. Yeah, yeah. We're the most serious show on the internet.
I know. All right, so now Paul wants to go to the police. All right, but he has to do some technical shit to figure it out. So basically, he's going to use his 1988 computer, and he's going to track down the signal of where the signal is broadcasting from. All right, now I don't know. Was he using Linux? What kind of program was he using here? I have no idea.
I don't know. This is pre-Windows, I think, but this is back in the times when people thought a computer could do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you just press
now it really can't do anything.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah, you just press a button.
Maybe it's us, Alison. Maybe what the true story was with La Casa 3 is Paul is actually a time traveler. Maybe he got the DeLorean.
Oh, maybe.
And he went back to 2025 and grabbed ChatGPT. And then he installed ChatGPT on his 1988 computer. And he asked him, computer, hey, where's the signal coming from? And ChatGPT is like, well, it's coming from some creepy ghost house that you're probably going to die in. So don't go there. And he's like, well, fuck, I found it.
I'm on my way.
So that's the story.
Maybe.
That's what I thought happened. All right. So now they're leaving. They go find the radio, and they're in the car. It's like, you know what? A crime could have been committed here. Well, no shit, brother. Well, you heard a bunch of screaming.
Yeah, no kidding.
So now they're driving to where the signal's at, and then some dude on the road just stops him. And his name is Pepe. That sounds like a rapper name nowadays. Pepe.
Pepe.
So Pepe wants a ride, and he's just standing out in the middle of the road. Okay. And then now he's guys like, hey, he sounds like a weird personality, I guess. He's like, hey, everybody, everything sucks. Boston sucks. Everything sucks. And they look at him like, whatever. So he scares Martha with his creepy little hand. And then they just drop him off. And they're like, see you later. All right. And I thought that was going to be the last of Pepe, but it's not. We see this fucker again.
We do see him again. Yeah.
Now, why was he in the movie? I don't know. Maybe he just showed up one day on set and like, we got a role for you.
Because basically he doesn't really contribute a ton more than he does already, but he does come back to the movie again.
So now, he also they lost the line was to talk about if they believe in ghosts or not, and then Martha said that he stole something from her. Okay, so now they pull up to the haunted house, and this is when we get groundskeeper Willie. Yeah, his name is Volkus. All right.
Very common Massachusetts name.
Yes. And they're basically going to the house from the beginning that was owned by the dad who died, which his name is Sam Baker. Mm-hmm. And this is when he had his daughter, the one that's doing all the evil dead magic to everybody. Henrietta. Okay. So they're at the house now, and Volka, don't call me groundskeeper Willie, is asking what they're doing here. All right. And basically Paul's trying to play it off like, yo, we're from Boston and stuff, and we're trying to find a new place to go stay at and stuff. He's like, well, nobody lives here and stuff. And then Paul makes up a story about renting places, so he wants to check the place out. So they go into the house, they check out the house. Martha doesn't like any of the house. She thinks it's depressing. And then Paul's like, don't be silly. All right. It's this crazy ghost house. How can you think this is depressing?
What can go wrong?
All right. So they go on, and we see a picture or something like that had the date May 23rd, 1967. Of course, this is the date where the murder happened on. So that's a little hint of what was going on. So they look around. They go upstairs. They go to the attic, and they see where the ham radio was. Okay. And then we have a hand with the weapon comes in up the stairs. And now we see some 80s looking hair dude. That's what I named him. All right. And his name is Jim. And Jim's like, what are you doing with my radio? All right. And then like, Bob's like, well, what do you live here or something? He's like, I don't live here. I'm just on vacation. He's on vacation with his family. And he came up to this creepy haunted house because he couldn't get any good signal anywhere else. Now, did it say what he was doing with his ham radio? No.
He was just doing ham radio.
So does he have his own radio show? Does he have his own like hair band by night DJing?
So like, my understanding, my understanding is the way that ham radio basically worked was like you communicated with it's like CB radio kind of, but it went much, much further. So I guess the appeal of ham radio is you could talk to people in other parts of the country or other parts of the world sometimes. And that was interesting to people back then. Like in the ham radio was like really big in the 50s and the 60s. It's kind of weird that it's still part of a plot point in the 80s, but here we are. So yeah, I think the thing is he was trying to talk to somebody in Denver from Massachusetts, which would have been a big deal.
Yeah, but that was Paul. What the fuck was Jim
the other
doing
guy
with it?
I don't know what Jim was doing with it.
Maybe he's trying to pick up some chicks on the ham radio, brother.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So it doesn't really say what he was doing on there. He just has a ham radio, and he was using it up here for good reception.
Right.
So then Paul's like, I'm going to play this tape, brother, of what I got from your stuff. So they play the tape. We hear all the voices and stuff. And Jim's like, oh, that sounds like me and my sister, Tina. All right. But he's like, you know what's weird? I didn't have this radio on yesterday, and that's when this thing came in. Okay. And he's like, I can prove it. And he goes onto the roof and shows Paul. And then Martha stays behind. And then we have the lullaby. If y'all want to drink when we say lullaby, you can as well, too, because it's going to be a bunch.
Might as well. I really like this, where it sounds like he's saying that they're saying like, you're with us or something like, you're with us. You're with us. Over and over again. Love that. It was cool.
So she follows the noise. She sees his glass and it's growing bigger, and the glass breaks. And she freaks out. And then we have two other people outside hearing it. One is named Mark. One is named Susie. And we have Tina. So Tina is the sister of Jim. And then Susie is a friend. And then Mark's a friend. All right?
Yes.
And then Jim and Paul also hear Martha. And she said she saw a head in the washing machine. All right? And now she wants to leave.
That's never good.
Yeah. I thought the head in the washing machine was pretty cool looking.
That was cool. Yes.
So they talk outside, all right, with the other crew about the tape, all right, and what Margaret saw. And I like it where Susie's like, "Do you think this is a horror movie?" Why, yes, I do.
I do.
So they come up with the plan, and now Martha, she wants to go back to Boston. All right, so we have so now we have, and then also too, it's being established now from Mark and Susie that Tina is a little bit of a white liar.
A little bit.
All right, so
she doesn't always tell the truth.
So yeah, so Tina's now getting upset about they think nobody listens to her. Everybody thinks she's lying about everything, which will come up here pretty soon. So now Paul and Jim, they try to get that signal going again in their ham radio to see if they can maybe trace down what's going on over here. And this is when we have Tina on her own getting haunted by the little girl, the little doll girl.
Right.
Right.
With the creepy clown doll. Yeah.
Yeah. The creepy clown doll girl guy. Henrietta. All right.
Yes, Henrietta.
So now let's see. Okay, so she sees her a little bit, all right, and then like Tina's in the trailer, and then it starts moving a little bit, shaking and everything, and then she gets on out of there because now they're haunting her by the trailer.
Right.
So now Jim goes downstairs. He hears some sounds. And then this is when Jim sees the little girl Henrietta with the doll, and he also sees a blade machine. And the blade machine comes on, and it slices Jim in the throat. And then he gets sliced in the throat again by a blade. All right. So now so during this, that's when Paul and all of them, they hear Jim's voice on the radio. And it sounds like the one from the other night because they can hear Jim screaming and they can hear Tina screaming, which is happening in real time right now. All right. So now they go looking for both of them. And then Tina goes, she sees the kid and the doll again. She sees Jim dead, and then she screams, and they all go to her. All right. And Mark sees it. And Mark is trying to get there, but he almost gets attacked by a ghost dog.
I know. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and then the girl disappears as Tina looks on. All right. And then we have Volkan, groundskeeper Willie. He gets there. All right. He starts going after Tina. All right. And she just runs away from him. We have Mark throwing a candle at the ghost dog. All right. So we're getting a lot of action going on here. Now Tina is asking Mark for help, and he stops the groundskeeper guy. So now everybody thinks that the groundskeeper guy is the one that's killing everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, that's what you naturally think, right?
Yes. Now, unlike Evil Dead, the groundskeeper guy wasn't some sort of evil demon. He was just some groundskeeper guy with a deadly knife.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Okay. So Mark tackles him down. Mark's getting him pinned down, and Paul chokes him out. So they got the groundskeeper really down and out. Mark doesn't know what's happening to Jim, or Mark doesn't know what happened to Jim. They all got separated, and Paul looks for Jim and stuff, and then Paul sees dead Jim. All right, and then we hear some screaming in the dark, and then so this is when the cops are about to be coming, and this is when Tina does tell Martha about the kid that she saw. All right,
right.
Tells her about the doll and the kid song and everything. All right. And she's like, nobody ever believes me and stuff. Everybody always thinks I'm telling lies, but I'm not telling lies. And Martha's like, well, I believe you. I can believe your story. All right. Okay. So during all this stuff, this is when it's like kind of like all happening at the same time where
right.
Paul is finding Jim. This is when Margaret goes up. She goes to the kid room. She sees the doll. The doll starts freaking out a little bit. disappears, and this is when we have a bunch of pillows and stuff flying around everywhere. All right, so eventually the cops get called. All right, and we have the main cop. All right, at the house, Ferguson.
Yes.
All right, he's talking to the doctor and stuff. Tina's in shock. All right, and they gave her a tranquilizer to keep her calm. All right. Imagine that.
That's what you did. That's what you did then. You just gave someone a Valium or something if they were freaking out. You didn't deal with any of the issues.
They just said we gave her a tranquilizer. I'm like, what kind of tranquilizer did you give her?
Wow.
So now Ferguson is talking about the murder that happened in this house in May of 1967. That was unsolved murder. The daughter was dead also too. She was yeah. So she was dead downstairs, and there was no marks on her. That's what they were saying before. So they were saying, you know, back in 96, like not only did the parents die, but the girl died as well too. But she just didn't have any marks on her. She was just dead because they locked her down in the basement. So now, everybody still thinks Tina's making stuff up. All right. And Ferguson and all them basically said it was the grounds guy who was doing all these murders. So after the grounds guy got pinned down and stuff by Paul and stuff, he actually escaped. So now that he's like the number one he's the number one subject of the guy who killed Jim. Okay. Yes. So that's what they're all looking for now. And I like it where the Ferguson says it was the grounds guy. All right, he was going to be off his rocker anyway. We knew that.
Yeah.
And there could be no possible explanation of anything else that could happen. It has to be the groundskeeper Willie guy.
Yeah, it can never be anybody else. It's not possibly anybody else.
But Paul doesn't believe this. He wants to figure some of this stuff out because of all the weird noises and shit that's happening. All right. So now Paul and Martha call Ferguson useless, and they know something's going on here. And now Paul needs to go back to Boston to get his equipment. Yeah, he has to go back to Boston. That should be a song. Back to Boston to go onto his ChatGPT computer of 1988 to figure out the mystery of this.
Right.
All right.
Just like in Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Ferguson ain't doing the job, brother. I gotta go use my technology. All right. So then Paul tells Mark and Susie and Tina to get on out of here. Don't go back to this house. Then they just drive off. So we're in Boston now. Paul plays the tape. I like my notes here. Back in Boston, Paul plays the tape with his advanced 1980s equipment, and he checks on his computer. All right. All right. So now he thinks that this is like he had a name for it. It's like pre something. It's like it's like you see pre-visions of stuff. He says there's no cases like this where people could see murders before they happen. Remember Jack the Ripper? There was this guy who saw the murders before they even happened.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul. All right.
Thanks for telling us that now.
So now Martha, she can't handle this because she thinks Paul is off his rockers, and then Paul is sticking to his guns. They call each other stupid, and then Martha leaves. And then Paul plays the tape again. All right, so now Paul calls Ferguson, and he wants to know about what Sam, the father of Henrietta, did for a living. And apparently, he owned his own funeral home. Oh, okay, you don't say.
Wow, how convenient.
Huh. So now Tina. So basically, Tina, Susan, and Mark, they were supposed to leave the house. But Mark's van surprisingly cannot work. There you go. Like Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Right. And he's trying to fix it. All right. And of course,
it's all coming together.
So Susan, mostly Susan, doesn't believe the house is haunted at all. She thinks it was just a groundskeeper guy. And Mark is kind of like on the fence, but Tina, she's the one who saw the creepy girl and the doll and everything. So she's the one that usually gets freaked out. So now Tina is staring off into the creepy forest because that's what you do when you're bored.
Right.
Okay. And we have none other than the return of the star of the movie. Pepe has come back.
Finally, Pepe has returned.
Pepe is here. He freaks her out with a skeleton arm. He said, I'm just joking. He's all like, hey, I'm going to stay in this house because it's a roof over my head. I froze my balls off last night. Yeah.
Apparently he's sleeping outside and he's looking for a place to sleep and he's going to sleep in the ghost house.
And he's like, hey, you want to come explore with me? And she's like, fuck off. He's like, all right, whatever. So he goes into the house. He looks around the house. He goes first to go find the old food, but all he found was cockroaches.
Yeah, gross.
Then he hears a noise, the lullaby, and he sees his door opening and closing. And that is almost the last we get of Pepe until one other scene.
Yeah, right? It's weird, right? He's like in 3 scenes in the entire movie.
I know. So now we're back in Boston again.
Mm-hmm.
I put in my notes, Paul and Martha made up, apparently. And then now they're driving around town to Goosebumps song.
I've never seen that show, but that's funny though that you would say that.
That music reminded me. The music they were driving around reminded me from an episode of Goosebumps. That's what it reminds me of. All right. So they go to the Gaffey funeral home. All right, and then I put in my notes. Oh, never mind. They're still mad at each other. They were just driving around to Goosebump music just to get excited. So Paul meets this funeral home guy who used to work with Sam. Okay. He's working on a body. The guy was like, hey, doesn't she look like, she looks like she's just fresh, right? She got hit by a bus. You sure saw what she looked like before. I'm not creepy.
No.
I'm not awkward. So Paul asked him about Sam Becker and stuff, and he worked with him and stuff. Sam was a good guy, but he didn't like the practices, all right, that Sam used to do. Oh, you don't say. What kind of practices were that? Did he dabble in the Necronomicon book by chance?
Maybe. That's what I'm saying. That's how it ties into Evil Dead.
Yeah. So basically, and then also too, Sam apparently he used to take trophies off of people. So was he a serial killer? I have no idea.
Maybe he just liked to take stuff from dead people. I don't know.
And then they brought up the doll not being buried with Tina. All right. I was like, okay. And they were saying that there was like this guy named Harvey who was the one who I guess he was like the groundskeeper for the funeral home. And he's the one that saw, like, if he's the one that supposedly saw Henrietta go into the grave, because Paul was like, well, we have some sightings of Henrietta and stuff in the doll, and the guy, the funeral guy was like, no, she was dead, and we have a witness of her being dead from this Harvey guy. So now Paul wants to go talk to the Harvey guy to uncover more of the mystery, because Paul is now Bruce Wayne, apparently.
He's a detective.
He's a detective, man.
Yeah. What'd you get with those computer skills from 1988?
You see all the fun you can do on ham radio? You can get yourself in a hole, right, brother.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So now Paul leaves. Groundskeeper Willie shows up, a.k.a. Volcom. He's pissed at the funeral guy for telling Paul too much of the secrets. And the funeral guy was like, I didn't say anything. I'm not a rat. All right. And then he knocks the phone away. And then groundskeeper Willie Volcom does his best Cannibal Corpse, because he does hammer, smash, face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
all I saw this scene. Like it boom, hit him, and then it fucking played in the background. I was like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that song wasn't influenced by this scene in this movie. Maybe.
It could have been, yeah.
It could have been.
So then he picks the funeral guy up, and he locks him in his coffin while the guy freaks out. Pretty cool scene. I liked it.
Yeah, I like that too.
So Ferguson's back. He's now talking to the doctor. All right. And then doctor's like, this is the strangest case I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, really? This case is the strange. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of weird shit in this.
Yeah, and then Ferguson's is all like, "Oh yeah," it's like, "Yeah, I can see it's a little nuts. You're not a Paul guy. The guy called me up. He's a wacko. He's calling me up about some weird stuff."
Well, he is kind of a wacko.
And then doctor's like, "Well, I can't really go with your assessment here because it's in my assessment, it shows that the blade got knocked off from a motor, and he hit Jim's throat at a speeding distance. So
yeah,
there's no way somebody could have knocked the blade off and then attacked Jim based on his notes. So it was saying that the blade got thrown off, during motion. And Ferguson's like, well, how the fuck can that happen with no power or electricity? All right. And then, doctor's like, well, the murders back in 1967 were strange too. Okay. And then my favorite line, because we're in Boston, remember? My favorite line in the movie is that Ferguson's like, what the hell do you think this is? The Salem witch trials?
Yeah, that was great.
Because we always have to bring that shit up when we're doing Salem, Boston shit. All right.
Yeah, we had to make sure they know where we are.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of money to film in Boston, and you need to know we're there.
It's like, what do you think this is? Some ghost shit in here? Come on.
No.
All right. And then the doctor's like, well, I'm just worried about those kids. And Ferguson's like, oh, those kids are long gone. Even though I didn't take them back to the station or anything, I just left them at the fucking house. They're long gone.
So they're probably gone though.
So now the kids are there, obviously, at the house. All right. Mark is trying to work on the van. So now Mark goes in the house. Nobody's there and stuff. Tina swears she saw somebody watching TV in the house. They don't believe her because remember Tina? They always think she's lying about something.
Yeah, because Tina always lies.
Yeah. Mark and Susan argue about the events and all the ghosts and stuff. They don't think ghosts are real or anything like that. And then Tina, she's supposed to be staying in the van, but she doesn't. She leaves. All right. And now basically the Mark is going to go to the store for a little bit to go pick up a piece for his van. Okay. And then this is when we get the scene of Martha and Paul. Now they're talking to the janitor guy or the guy who runs the graveyard and stuff about the doll in Tina's house and everything.
Yeah.
All right. So now Tina goes back into the house. Okay. And she's looking around and stuff, and she sees like this like army toy, and we hear that song again playing in the background. All right. This is when Mark leaves to go get his parts, and then Susan just puts on headphones and walks around. Okay. So we're back in the house. Tina is looking all around the house because she keeps hearing those, voices, and she wants to explore what's going on. So she goes inside the kids' room, and she sees a bunch of dead rats hanging around everywhere.
No, that's creepy. I love that though.
You have dead rats hanging out in your house there, Alison?
Yeah, man, because I'm a creepy metal bastard that has dead rats hanging from the ceiling. The cats love that.
So apparently, in this dead rat haunted Evil Dead house, Henrietta appears with her creepy doll, and we have a, what do you call this? That thing? A jaffle, a knife thing, just cuts Tina right in half. I don't know where.
All right.
The blade.
Yes, the blade.
And I was like, okay. So she just randomly cuts Tina right in half, and we have a horse rocking around. All right. And then the whole time, Susie was just washing up in the room. And while she was washing her face, she was watching blood all over her face. And now she starts screaming. So the house is starting to haunt them a little bit. And then Tina, Tina gets freaked out a little bit and stuff. And she sees the doll, and then it vanishes. So now we're in the graveyard. Paul tells Martha to stay behind, and he's worried about the kids and that they're still at the house. So she tells Martha to go radio them and tell them to get out of the house. Paul now meets with Harvey, who is sleeping. Mark finally gets the call, tells him to get away. Paul will tell you later. So Mark gets back and he finally gets the call from Martha because Martha's been trying this whole time, and she said, "Just get out of the house. We'll tell you later what's going on." So basically, the story with Harvey and stuff like that was he, they're talking about the dead little girl, and he's seen her by the house before. So he was saying that he's seen her before. He's seen her ghost before in the house. So he knows something's been wrong with her, but he knows that she's locked up into in the coffin. All right. So now Martha, while she is doing the ham radio stuff, groundskeeper Willie shows up and starts chasing her all throughout the forest because we have to have a chasing scene. All right.
Well, yeah, we got to have that.
Yeah.
Got to have some action.
Yes. And this is when apparently Martha goes to the crypt. She just so happens to go to the crypt that
because
that's the little girl was at. And of course the crypt,
she was booked to.
Yes. Because the crypt opens and they're about to attack her. All right, but she gets away. So now Mark is going to go look for Susan and Tina. Now he can't find them and stuff. Paul now sees that Martha is missing. All right. Martha freaks out. All right. The dead girl smashes a pot near her and she runs away.
Mm-hmm.
Paul goes screaming, sees dead grounds guy who hung himself apparently. So groundskeeper Willie is dead. We saw him die off screen for some reason. I'm not sure who killed him, or did he hang himself? What happened here?
Well, we will never know because we needed his body as a shock.
Yeah, because he was chasing her. Martha hid in the grave, and then now the grave attacked her, but we didn't see anybody kill. I have no idea what happened with groundskeeper.
Yeah, he's just all of a sudden randomly dead.
Yes. So now Paul hears the screaming coming from Martha because she's getting attacked by a ghostly figure.
Mm-hmm.
Paul goes to Martha in the grave. Goosebump music plays. That's where I put my notes. All right, and then during this stuff we have Mark. She goes look for Susie. All right, and then we have another song that's on now.
Mm-hmm.
He sees the blood in the sink. He goes to the attic. Little girl's there with the doll. He sees Tina dead, and he's in his acting. If I can, everybody.
Oh, I look forward to this every single time.
Let me get ready for this one. All right, so I'm Mark, right? The jean jacket dude. I saw some blood in the sink. I run up to the attic. I saw the creepy girl with the creepy girl with the doll hanging out in the corner with the light flashing on him. I look over. I see dead Tina cut in half, and now I have to act. Oh my!
Action!
Oh my God! There you
go. Perfect. It's like one take.
Perfect. One take, brother. That's all it takes. All right.
And then good enough. Let's go.
And then he freaks out, and then he falls through the floor. Okay. And then he falls through another floor that has milk in it.
That was gross.
Have you ever fall through a milky floor before there, Alison?
No, but there's a huge weird cut in that. I don't know if you noticed it, but he's walking across the floor, and then there's a really bad cut, and then all of a sudden the floor is soft, and he falls into it. But yeah, it was really bad, really, really, really bad.
So I thought that part was hilarious.
Yes.
And then there's in this milky water, there's skunk bones and stuff. I don't know. So now Susan, she's still there. She's trying to leave the house. She can't. There's this hand that's trying to get through her, through the wall. Some random hand that tried to get through the wall. She runs around.
Yeah, that's scary.
She runs to the place. She plays. She tries to play dead in the other room. All right. Mark is still alive, but he's covered in 80s milk. Mark comes upstairs like a milk. I like my notes. Mark comes upstairs like a milk zombie. Susan freaks out and stabs him with head clippers.
That was awesome.
So he's dead.
Yeah.
And then the doll looks on, happy. And now Susan tries to leave. Martha's in a car. They hear Susan screaming over the radio. They all hear it. And Paul hears all this stuff from the grave. The graveside he was at. And Paul's like, I got a great idea. I know how to solve this mystery now. So Susan now, she runs into the ghost dog, gets chased by the ghost dog. Paul opens up the grave of Henrietta.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I like and this is true. Paul opens up the grave of Henrietta, even though the grave already opened up in a couple scenes before.
Yes.
Because remember, the grave opened up and had that zombie creature attack him that just disappeared.
Right. Yeah, but it closed back, though, on them. Now it's opening back up again.
Did you see that, Alison? Do you have a
No, I didn't. That was that happened in my headcanon.
Yeah. There you go. So now Susie locks herself in a room, but the little girl's there with the doll. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is when we have... Oh, there was one scene I think we forgot to talk about. One of the scenes where Susie opens up the door, she just sees dead Pepe, and he just dies. We don't see how he dies. He dies like off screen, just like the janitor, or just like the groundskeeper Willie did.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's all for Pepe.
I like this scene though. The door opens, right? She's in this room. She sees the doll. She tries to lock herself in a room, right? Mm-hmm. But the room has Ghost, Henrietta, and the doll. And they start smiling at her. Then the door shoots open. And we get a creature straight out of Spirit Halloween trying to attack Susie in there. It's like this Grim Reaper with maggots on its face. Yeah. And I was like, brother, I swear I saw that as an animatronic at Spirit Halloween. Don't tell me I didn't. All right.
That's so good.
So he comes in with his knife. All right. Paul now sees Henrietta not decomposed at all.
No.
So apparently the Crypt guy is really good. He can keep you not decomposed after a certain amount of years. 20
years. Yeah. 20 years. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Maybe he stuffed her or something. I don't know.
Oh, Chris. Maybe.
So maybe so he pours gasoline on her. All right. We have Skull Maggot Mask Guy getting closer to 80s guitar music.
Yep.
Does that ever happen to you, Alison? You're in your room and you're getting haunted and stuff, and the Spirit Halloween animatronic comes to you. If that did happen to me, I would like to have 80s guitar rock playing in the background.
Yeah. Well, that's good for any occasion.
Yeah.
For sure.
I could dig it. I might start rocking out. I wouldn't get scared. I'll just start rocking out a little bit.
Yeah, Europe Out of This World would be perfect for that.
Yeah, no, there you go. It's popping out. All right, so now Paul pours gasoline on the body and lights it up. And in the most shocking part of the movie, the Ghost, Maggot, Spirit Halloween animatronic, the doll, and Anita, you know what happened with them?
What?
Henrietta? They just disappear.
Yep, they're just gone.
Gone. Easy. Vanished. And then Susan
that was an easy
crying.
Ending.
Easy, man. That's all you had to do, brother. That's all you had to do was just burn the original body and everything would have been fine.
Yeah. Why did they never think of that immediately?
See, I think the problem is, Paul, I think he was asking his computer the wrong questions.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
You gotta ask ChatGPT the right questions. You're getting the wrong answers.
Exactly. So now, even Harvey, he's seeing the body burning and stuff. Ferguson is now talking to Henry, which I guess Henry is like the governor or whatever, about, nothing. It was all the groundskeeper guy. He's the one that caused all this stuff.
Sure.
And Paul's looking at him like, you're not going to tell him the truth? Ferguson's like, I'm not going to tell these people the truth.
They can't handle the truth.
They can't handle it, brother. Mass spirits and ghosts and stuff.
No.
They can't handle all that stuff. All right? All right. So now Paul tells Susan,
yeah,
hey, Ferguson's right. Don't tell anybody like what really happened here because they'll all just think you're crazy.
Right.
Susan's like, okay, that's fine. And I said, like, you won't. I like my notes here. He's like, she was like, okay, I promise I won't tell anybody unless I get invited to the sequel. Then I will tell somebody.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So now they're all like, Martha, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Paul, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
We're all
We'll just
good
go
then.
back to Boston and start
Let's
walking
go
around.
home. Let's go home.
So Martha's walking around Boston, maybe looking for some Boston pizza. All right.
Maybe.
She goes and look in the mirror and she's like, wait a minute, that looks like that fucking doll. All right. And then Paul is screaming her name, Martha, Martha. And then Paul crosses the street.
Yep.
And this mother gets Final Destination and he gets hit by a fucking bus.
Yep. Because the lights change. The end. Because the lights change unexpectedly and a bus just runs in the fuck over. Just like in Final Destination. Yeah. And that's pretty much it.
Is it? And until we get the greatness of David Hasselhoff next week on the Retro.
Yeah. And La Casa 4.
Yeah, La Casa 4. So I think this movie was pretty fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It had what you're looking for in a horror movie, I thought.
That's true. That's true. I thought it was decent. I mean, I thought it was decent. Like, I give it a bunch of shit that I had to watch it twice. But I mean, the movie's pretty good. Yeah. It's no La Casa 4. I mean, you got to be ready for La Casa 4.
Well, I guess we'll see. But
it's pretty good. Yeah, yeah.
Well, okay. So my thing is though, Evil Dead sequel, no. If I was gonna put the closest movie to an Evil Dead sequel, to me it'd be Night of the Demons. Would be the closest to an Evil Dead sequel that there is, because Night of the Demons, which we did in the show before, one of my favorite horror movies of this time period. We actually did it for one of our Halloween specials. Everybody check it out in the archives. That movie is a lot more like Evil Dead than this fucking movie was. But obviously, to get the audience to come out to this movie and watch it, to rent it, to buy it and stuff, we had to give it a La Casa treatment. So
right, because like I've mentioned, it worked. Like I mentioned before, they did that in Italy a lot.
Yeah.
Like they would find a movie and then just give it a sequel to a famous American movie and then it would do well. Apparently Italians don't care about shit like that. But yeah, I mean it worked. Yeah. So, you know.
Hey, it worked.
So. And then they did it again.
Yep. But we'll be talking about that next week when Retro Blood does the first ever pivot, where we're going to be talking about La Casa 4 Witchery.
Yeah. For all the people who wanted to see it, if there are any, we will come back and do the Ripper later.
Yeah. We'll do that one later. There's plenty of ghost movies. We'll probably be doing a third month and stuff. So, but everybody, for all of our podcast listeners, thanks for joining us here on the Retro Blood. Like I said, check us out on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, and like us here on the YouTubes, man. I know we got a couple of new subscribers on here. I hope you're all enjoying.
Thank you.
The Retro Blood. Thanks. Comment below. You know, tell us if you like our show. Tell us if you don't really care. We'll try to answer all your comments when we can. Like us on here, share it on here and stuff. You know, that's how we can grow on here. You know, we just try to have a good time here on the Retro Blood. We do have a jam-packed Halloween specials coming up. So for all of our new listeners and stuff, Halloween is kind of like the anniversary of our show. When we started this show, was it like 3 years now? 3 or 4 years now?
No, it'll be, we're about to start our 5th year, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right, because we started in 2020. Or 2020.
No, it's 2021. So yeah, 2021, 22 would be 1 year. 22, 23, 23, 24, 4 years. Yeah, this is our 4th year.
So we started we try to do every Halloween, or every October, we try to do like a series long review. You know, obviously as we go later on in the years and keeping the show going, we're going to have to change up the formula. But, you know, we started off with Nightmare on Elm Street. We did.
That's how the show started.
That's how the show started. Very early episodes. We've done all the Halloweens. We've all the
Friday the 13th.
We did all Friday the 13th. That was a really fun trilogy of shows.
That was great. Yeah. It took 2 months to do that.
2 months to do that. And, you know, we're going to be keeping the train going on this year, because we're actually going to do a whole series that I'm pretty excited about talking about. And we'll tell you all about that when we get to our the end of this month. Then we got a couple of Lights Out coming for everybody. We usually try to do Lights Out is pretty much when me and Alison, we get out of the 80s and we talk about whatever. A little different format on that show. A little bit more just focused on the subject itself.
Yeah.
So you got a bunch of jam-packed stuff happening there. So pretty exciting month for a couple months for the Retro Blood. So, but thank you everybody for joining us. Shout out to everybody on the Shutter app that comments on us. We appreciate it.
Yep.
But like I said, you guys have any recommendation, you can send it to us, retroblood69@gmail.com. You can send us a movie recommendation that we didn't do. And if you have a personal story about it, I will read that story live on the air. All right.
And if we completely misunderstood the point of the movie and it's your favorite movie of all time, please write us and tell us how we didn't understand it.
Yes. Maybe you could tell us, wow, maybe Paul had a ghostly device like Ghostbusters that we missed in the film that he was using to figure out the mystery of the ghost. You never know. So,
yeah.
But Alison, what Europe song should we play for our podcast listeners to get on out of here?
Let's play the only song on this album that I like, which is Superstitious.
Ooh, Superstitious. Hey.
Fits the theme.
It does. Now, we didn't have Mark and Susie. They weren't superstitious. But Paul and Tina, they definitely were.
Yeah.
They were getting superstitious about this stuff. They knew the shit that was going on until Tina got in half. All right? So, but everybody, J.H. Alison, James Kline, we'll see you here next week for The Witchery.
See you guys.